All right, you're welcome to Newsbeat here on Metro TV. We're coming to you live from the Ekuabo studio at North Ridge with me, Annie Ampo. For now, let's take a closer look at the headlines of the stories coming up. Embattled Asin North MP James Gyakye filed for review of Supreme Court's decision barring him from performing his parliamentary duties. Will be speaking to his lawyers for some more explanation to this action. 21 human rights report on Ghana cites the Ghana police for various human rights abuses, while government has been accused of various corrupt practices and lack of transparency. Russian energy giant Gazprom cuts gas supplies to Poland and Bulgaria over their refusal to pay in rubles. The news is live on Metro TV Ghana on Facebook and Metro TV_GH on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us there and send us your comments. Now, in the first story, the embattled member of Parliament for Asin North constituency, James Gyakye, has filed an application at the Supreme Court seeking a review of the restraining orders against him from performing his parliamentary duties. Now, the application is expected to be heard on May 17, 2022. The Supreme Court, in a 5-2 majority ruling on April 13, 2022, granted an interlocutory injunction filed by Michael Ankuma Nimfa, who filed a petition asking the court to prevent the MP from holding office due to his dual citizenship. Now, on Wednesday, May 13, the Supreme Court ruled on the issue, barring the MP from performing any parliamentary duties. Joining us on phone is Abraham Amaleba, a member of the NDC legal team for this development. Lawyer, thank you for your time. You're welcome to Newsbeat. Can you explain really why this action?
Well, let me first say good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, it is true that the MP's lawyers have filed an application for review of the 5-2 decision of the Supreme Court. The reason for this review is that there are exceptional circumstances in the case which warrants a review. And our case is that if the review is not done, it would occasion a grave miscarriage of justice to the people of Asin North and to the MP himself. That's one. Two, we are saying that there are fundamental errors in the majority decision, the 5-2 decision. For instance, we all know that when it comes to parliamentary petitions, and if you seek to annul the elections of a parliamentarian, the appropriate court to go to is the High Court, and then the matter ends at the Court of Appeal. The Supreme Court has no jurisdiction over parliamentary petitions. And there are cases in which the Supreme Court itself have said that where a particular court has the jurisdiction over a matter, it will stay its hands off and refer the matter to the appropriate courts. And so it beats our imagination that the Supreme Court will now take over the matter and then deal with it as if it is dealing with a parliamentary petition. And so these are the reasons why the review application has been filed.
Lawyer, we've heard Lawyer Kwaku Aza also make similar comments from the United States. If this is not supposed to be done legally or is not allowed legally, why do you think the Supreme Court took this decision? this must be a grave error if indeed the Supreme Court is not supposed to be, handling this case that was at the High Court and the Appeal Court as well.
I think the petitioner's lawyers tried to play a fast one on the Supreme Court by filing a writ for the interpretation of Article 94(2)(a), and by so doing, they sought to disguise the election petition, the parliamentary election petition. They sought to clothe it with the interpretation issue, when indeed the gravamen of the case is actually to nullify the elections of a parliamentarian. So, going to the Supreme Court, they sought to create the impression that it was to interpret the Constitution. And as you are aware, it is only the Supreme Court that can interpret the Constitution. But beneath it, if you remove the veil, if you strip that naked, you see that it is more about the nullification of a parliamentary election. So these are the reasons why, the gamut of reasons why we decided to go for a review.
So in brief, the Supreme Court was misled?
That would be our argument. And so the review is seeking to put right what we feel should have been done.
Exactly. So what if this doesn't go your way as you expected, what will you do?
Well, that will be the end of the road, and we'll leave the rest to posterity to judge.
We wouldn't have no other option.
Once you get to a review stage and you are not successful, it is the end of the road. It may be bad law, but it is the end of the road. You live with it. You live with the decision.
Lawyer Abraham Amalba, thank you for speaking to us. We'll be following through and see how you also pull through with this one in the courts. So the lawyers for Judge Equestrian has actually filed a review, hoping that the ruling that came out this month, that's in April, barring him from carrying his activities as an MP, they are seeking a review of that ruling. So let's go on to other stories. And the United Nations Human Rights Report has cited the police for a number of human rights offenses. It noted that the human rights issues such as torture, degrading treatment are being carried out by the Ghana police. Now, again, it cites the government for corruption and lack of transparency, adding that arbitrary or unlawful killings by the government or its agents, cases of cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment by the government or on behalf of the government are widespread. Here are some excerpts of the reports. Let's just go through it on the screen. Okay, good. So it says arbitrary deprivation of of life and other unlawful or politically motivated killings. There are a few reports that the government or its agents committed arbitrary or unlawful killings. Officers charged with investigating security force killings include the Special Investigations Branch of the Ghana Armed Forces and the Police Professional Standards Bureau. Okay, let's go on. It says that there are no reports of disappearances by or on behalf of government authorities. And that's about disappearance. Let's get other excerpts of the reports. And on punishment, it says impunity remained a significant problem in the Ghana Police Service, and the investigation and complaints process did not effectively address reports of abuses and bribery. Still on punishment, corruption, brutality, poor training, lack of oversight, and an overburdened judicial system contributed to impunity. Police often failed to respond to reports of abuses and, in many instances, did not act unless complainants paid for police transportation and other operating expenses. I'm sure most of you, are victims to this report. Arbitrary arrest is also here, and it says that the general practice of holding detainees without proper warrant or charge continued. On May 20, police arrested 21 lesbians, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or intersex, that's LGBT plus activities in the city of Ho on spurious unlawful assembly charges. Authorities released the activities on June 11 and dropped the case on August 5. On corruption and lack of transparency in government, there were numerous reports of government corruption. Corruption was present in all the branches of government, according to the media and NGOs, including recruitment to the security services. Now, since the first special prosecutor took office in 2018, no corruption case undertaken by the office resulted in the conviction. When a new special When a new special prosecutor took office in August, the staff included one investigator and one prosecutor, both seconded from other offices. All right, the next one says that the government took steps to implement laws intended to foster more transparency and accountability in public affairs. In July 2020, authorities commissioned the Rights to Information, that's the RTI Secretariat, to provide support to RTI personnel in the public sector. However, some civil society organizations stated the government had not made sufficient progress in implementing the law. Right, so those are some excerpts. Now, security analyst Adam Bona has joined us via Zoom for further conversation on this development. Adam Bona, thank you for your time. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to Newsbeat. Have you actually had access to these excerpts of this United Nations human rights reports? And what would be your first, opinion to it?
Yes, I've looked at it, I've read it. Did you say United Nations or it's United States?
States reports.
Say it again.
United States security reports, human rights reports.
I thought I heard you say United Nations.
Yes, pardon me.
So good afternoon to
Good
afternoon to your viewers. Yes, I've seen the report. I've taken my time to review it. I've made, notes, taken note of some of the things or almost all the things they mentioned. But Annie, we must admit that yes, we have challenges, but that is not to suggest that looking at all the things that the United States, the United States government raised concerning us when it has to do with security, the police, the military, and the arbitrariness of the way sometimes these things are done, we have not raised them in this country. We have raised them in this country. We have spoken about them. We are aware of them. And the corruption practices they've raised, severally, these things have been captured in the Auditor General's report. Mm-hmm. So these things are not new. My only concern has to do with the fact that it is coming actually from none other country than the United States of America. I must say that United States of America shouldn't be the one telling us that, our police isn't doing well. They don't have the moral authority to tell us our police isn't doing well. Because I feel very safe in Ghana than I would have been if I was in America.
All right.
Why do we have several Black Americans trooping into this country? Most of them will tell you they are oppressed in America. Guantanamo Bay. Which country hosted Guantanamo Bay? Was it not Americans? And so mine is that if anybody would raise issues about human rights abuses,
right,
United States of America, the State Department should be the last agency, or the United States should be the last country that will admonish us that would advise us when it comes to human rights abuses. When it comes to human rights abuses, I think that they are first, they are champions. We probably are even better than them, even though I must admit that we have challenges. The police, I mean, there have been several, researchers that point to the fact that our police needs improving. But let's also admit that in the last few years, the police have been improving in the last few years. There are excesses here and there. But for me, my worry is that we seem to be glorifying this bogus document from the United States of America. Looking at, this Floyd, the guy who a police officer knelt on his neck for several minutes and he died. That threw America into chaos. Most states were in chaos. Have we had that in this country? No. So mine is that, yes, these are things that civil society, those of us who speak on security issues, do the analysis, have spoken about in the past. But for me, I would oblige you and talk to you because we need to probably look at it. But I don't think America has any right to tell us something that they themselves are worse when it comes to human rights and go to their prisons.
As a matter of fact, what actually got me raise an eyebrow is when I saw the LGBT bits of the report that alleged LGBT practitioners were arrested, which I think that, LGBT practice is not legal in Ghana. And so when they are arrested, why should it be classified as human rights abuse?
Exactly. I'm happy, you looked at it and you thought human, LGBT, whatever, plus, is illegal in Ghana. And therefore, if anybody who wants to practice LGBT, the American embassy is free to give them visa to go and practice it in America. But if you practice it here, the police is duty bound to arrest you. If the police does that, you cannot tell the police that they are breaking the law. When in your country, you stop me driving, and any careless move I make, they will riddle my body with bullets. And the police officer the next day will still be, walking around as a police officer. And so mine is that, it is because as a country, we have allowed some of these things in because of our, urge to borrow. The points United States of America gives us, I believe it is a reason why they will find it necessary to come and tell us to do something that they themselves are not doing. America is one of the worst places when you talk about human rights practices. Go to Afghanistan, go to Libya. They have thrown Libya into turmoil, into chaos. And that is what is affecting the Sahelian, region around the West Africa. They were in Afghanistan until recently when they had to go. Human beings who were on the wings of their aeroplanes on the tarmac, they flew the aeroplanes and some of them fell from the aeroplanes and died. Is that not human rights abuses? Under Donald Trump, what do you call that? Children who crossed from the Mexican side of the border to America were put into cages. What is more dehumanizing than that? Is that not a human rights abuse? Or is it because it is us? If America does it, it is okay. I don't think so. I think that human rights abuse is human rights abuse. We have our challenge. I would accept it. But I think that their report is bogus. Their report is bogus because then what they are not doing, they will come to our backyard because of the coins. Then the few cents and dollars they give us, they'll come and tell us that our police isn't doing this, our police isn't doing that. How well is their police trained? I, Adam Bona, I am more safer in Ghana here with our Ghana police than the American police. And so for me, I have to oblige, I've spoken to other media houses about this, and I would oblige you because, you see, let's not allow, countries like America to come and tell us what human rights abuses are when they kept people in Guantanamo Bay for years without any trial.
Right.
Without any trial. Come on.
So some of these acts of Americans, are clear historically and very open, and people actually have access to information. However, in the same reports, there are things that have been captured that we cannot run away from it, not so. And if we cannot, how do we correct it and prevent institutions such as these to criticize Ghana?
Well, I think that we have improved. Some of us kept championing the idea of a national security policy document. Eventually, we have had one, no matter how scanty or no matter how inadequate that is. But you realize that you actually have the National Security Minister who is leading the sensitization process to let civil society, the media, even the judiciary.
Right.
Was it not at one of those sensitization tours that he spoke about the judiciary should be wary of rulings they give?
Right.
And so mine is that I think our state agencies, the government, civil society, the media, we need to come to a round table where we need to begin to have this type of conversations instead of waiting for, what do you call it, rogue states like the United States of America to come and tell us something that we are doing better than they themselves. So mine is that, yes, everything in that report, if you talk about Caleb Kuda, his arrest and detention, we spoke about it in this country, Azugu and his people, that led to Azugu and his people getting removed from the national security. If you talk about Ahmed Swale, we have continuously raised Ahmed Swale issues. Everything they spoke about is something that we, as practitioners in this country, we have spoken. We speak freely in this country. Yeah, there might be issues that has to do with some people not being happy with regards to the way some of the things are handled, and they come after you. But we know what some American government have been capable of doing. Under Trump, people were beaten during rallies. People were beaten, molested. Didn't they nearly do a coup? When in the last American election. I mean, if that thing had happened in Ghana, they would have issued a report from the State Department to say we are not doing well. But I'm waiting for a day when we will be able to issue a report and say, you see, your Black Americans are coming into Ghana and they will tell you that Ghana is safer than the United States of America. And so anybody who knows these things will tell you that, you see, we are not a bad country as they purport and they want us to believe in. We can do well, and we must do well if we come together and we want to shape this country moving forward.
Thank you so much, Adam Bona, for speaking to us here on Newsbeat. We'll get back to you for some more analysis. You're still watching Newsbeat here on the Metro TV. We're coming to you live from the Akua Boahema studio. We go for a quick breather. I'll be back shortly with some more stories. Right, welcome back to Newsbeat. Now let's do some more stories. And there appear to be some disagreement between the Civil and Local Government Staff Association and the Trade Unions Congress, since the Trade Union Congress also announced that it will demand neutrality allowance for its members if the government fulfills the demand by CLOGSAC. At the CLOGSAC press conference on Tuesday, the association said it will boycott this year's May Day celebrations with a blame on the TUC for acting in bad faith by signing a declaration on March 2020 on the blind side of other unions. Now, we'll be hearing from a labor consultant, but first, let's hear from the Executive Secretary of CLOGSAC, Isaac Bampoe Addo.
Also known as Labor Day in most countries, is a day set aside to celebrate the workers' achievements throughout the year. Workers use the day to demand better conditions of service, while governments also use the occasion to thank labor for their service in building the country. However, at a news conference in Accra, Executive Secretary of CLOGSAC, Dr. Isaac Bampoe Addo, notified its members across the country to stay away from the TUC's planned May Day event, as the association will hold its own private celebration in all 16 regions.
Civil and local government staff of CLOGSAC, Ghana regrets that due to the recent unfortunate developments on the labor front, we are unable to collaborate with the TUC Ghana in the celebration of this year's May Day. The association will independently organize activities in all the 16 regions of the country, not the 10 regions, in commemoration of this important landmark in the annals of workers' struggle.
Isaac Bampoado described the TUC as a poisonous union that does not work in the interest of Ghanaian workers.
The threat of nationwide strike by the TUC contradicts the 1st March 2020 Kwao Declaration, when some of the sections of the community stated, as referred, the 14th, improve coordination between Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the Ministry of Finance and all other relevant agencies to determine clearly annual wage baskets allowed for negotiations. This means that there's a limit to the quantum of money for negotiations, and this will be determined by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and then the Ministry of Finance. The declaration was signed by the TUC on the blind side of other unions. The TUC is throwing dust into the eyes of workers. Considering the period for 2023 salary negotiations, and that will be part of 2023 budget statement, these expectations are unattainable or unachievable per the declaration that the TUC signed.
All right, you're welcome back. So a labor consultant, Austin Game, is via Zoom to join us in this conversation. Mr. Austin Game, thank you for your time, and our condolences to you for your loss, sir. Hello, Mr.
Thank
Game.
you. I
Right.
appreciate that.
All right, thank you so much. So I have actually heard you say that the government should, put in a structure to merge both TUC and CLOGSAG. How is that going to happen?
Thank you. Well, they have no choice. If they don't do it, the consequences are a lot more expensive than remaining aloof. There is a tripartite body in this country legally available. And therefore, if two of the parties are at loggerhead and will not cooperate, the tripartite will not function very well. And therefore, government as the bigger player in the tripartite relationship will have no choice. If they cannot do it themselves, get somebody to bring them together so that they will stop operating in the red zone. For now, they are not going to talk to each other. They are not going to have meeting together, and they'll be fighting. And it's in the supreme interest of government and the people of Ghana for these two giant bodies to get together. And so they have no choice. They have to do it.
It's also been said by some experts that when the leaders, when these unions fight, that some of the leaders benefit. Did you subscribe to that assertion? Is it true?
It's a very lame excuse anybody can give. From my experience over 40 years in this business, I can guarantee you, if you like, you mark it in your diary, within some few days, if they don't work it out together, the consequences will boomerang in all of us, our faces. Because if you give the other side even one, you must necessarily give the other side one. Otherwise, you can't survive it.
So how is it that, CLOGSAG or TUC will sign onto a document on the blind side of CLOGSAG? How is that possible? How does that work out?
Well, my understanding is that not everybody was invited to the Eastern Region meeting, and therefore CLOGSAG did not participate. Maybe NAGRA did not participate. Some of the people did not participate, and therefore the TUC should, as a matter of agency, invite these colleagues of theirs who did not participate and give them a briefing and try and draw a bigger circle and bring them in. They didn't have that opportunity to do that, and therefore what the CLOGSAG man is referring to is true though, but it's not something unsurmountable. That is why they should take steps now to do what I suggested. By saying that somebody will take advantage, the advantage will be 5 minutes. The rest of the 95 is too expensive for us to bear.
So you've earlier on said that, if we do not take these actions, the consequences will boomerang. The currently on the table is the, neutrality allowance, and I think by the sound of it alone, it's just not acceptable by most experts that have heard this. How do we go about this? It's been suggested by Franklin Cudjoe that if you want to review and maybe change the name that will make sense to us, then maybe that will be more accepted. But as neutrality allowance, then you will have more institutions that are also deserving of this. How do we get out of the situation?
Thank you. I think this nation is one among the lot that fails to learn lessons. You know, we have, since 2000 and something, I was present at that meeting. I wouldn't like to mention names of those who are both dead and alive, but it's to live on their conscience. They were going to introduce this market premium allowance. I was present at the meeting on the side of the nurses, and I told them they should not venture to introduce it because the consequences, Ghana will live with it forever, and they can't survive it. They took it for granted and forced their way because of cheap popularity, and now here we are. We are introducing what they are calling neutrality allowance. First of all, neutrality is only in language. It's not, as a pulse practitioner, I can tell you on authority that it's improper for them to even dream of introducing that concept to start with, and the nomenclature they choose. So they should throw it away immediately, never to be mentioned in this country again. What they should do is to take advantage of what already the civil service is apolitical, and therefore that is who they are, just like in any country. And therefore what they should do is they have to be improved. Their condition of service need to be improved. I underline that. They must pay them very well. I support that. Mm-hmm. And so they should do some reevaluation and pay them based upon productivity. But to give them what they are calling neutrality allowance, everybody will lash onto it, and the consequences, you can't live with it in this country.
We've been trying to trace, and I keep asking every expert I speak with, do you know when exactly this was introduced, the neutrality allowance, sir?
I think February, they might have signed this agreement sometime in February this year. I doubt if it formed part of the budget submitted to Parliament, and therefore the whole thing smacks of something else I don't want to call. And therefore, that's why they cannot implement it, and it cannot be implemented. If they implement it, that will be the end of it. We will go in ambulance to go and look for help.
Thank you very much, Austin Gami, for your time. He's a labor expert. We'll be speaking to him some more. Let's see how this neutrality allowance argument actually unfolds. Now, former Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, Professor Aaron Michael Quaye, has called for a relook at the constitutional article which allows appointment of members of Parliament to boards of agencies. Speaking at the launch of the Professor Michael Quaye Center for Constitutional Studies in Accra, he said the practice put such officers in a conflict of interest positions. All right, we'll bring you details of that story later. But for now, on April 27, 1972, Ghana lost its first president, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, in Bucharest, Romania. Now, my colleague Bright Ameni is on standby with the CPP chairperson at the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum for a conversation on this. Let's cross over.
CPP will remain. CPP will constitute the affairs of Ghanaians. CPP will become a political party. CPP will win power from the parliament to national. When I say people, so far as you can see the Lula Balus on TV and radios, you know where it's coming from. So far as you can hear and even see on television the Lula Balus going up and down in the party, you know where it's coming from. CPP does not belong to anybody. CPP is not somebody's personal property. CPP belongs to Osagyefo.
Nana Akufo-Addo, President Mills, President Kufuor, President Rawlings, President Mahama. All of them were insulted in this country. Even at a point in time, some were called, they drink blood. Or maybe you are too young to know that time. But they never took anybody to the police station because of politics. Then you take your 3 or is it 5 officers to the police station. Now, when they did the meeting and said they've interdicted 3, the Council of Elders did not say anything. But when a properly constituted central committee took a decision, then the Council of Elders said it's illegal. Even there, the Council of Elders are illegally constituted. I will say it, they are illegally constituted because more than 12 years, there's no election. One chairman till today. So that's why there's total confusion. And ask anybody in the Convention People's Party, since this chairman became the Council of Elders, he has never solved one problem.
Let me quickly ask you this. Now, Jonathan tells me that there's going to be an election in July. Are you ready for that?
Oh, I said if it's today. If it's today, because you see, let's do the right thing. Why am I saying this? I wouldn't have even bothered myself. But why are we in politics? We want to win power, isn't it? Yes. And then our own constitution, we're not respecting it. Then Ghana constitution will throw it in the lagoon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yes.
I will not sit down and continue with the fight and not do the polling station electoral area, and before we realize we are going on. The 50 and 43, whatever they are saying. I won in 10 regions. I got 234 more than the next person. They used a simple majority because they used a referendum to change the constitution. The constitution was the Council of Elders, always their best, they are the arbitrators. So they went to court in 2020 when Batakwete had taken the party to court. They went to court in 2020, and then they decided that it's in the interest of the party that we do the 2 elections together. That one means that national elections and the flag bearer was done together. It was in the interest of the party and the COVID situation at that time to do it in 16 regions under the regional congress instead of the national delegate congress.
It's rather a sad, situation where the CPP is remembering Dr. Kwame Nkrumah with a confusion in the party. Now, the Minister for Public Enterprises, Joseph Kudjo, has attributed losses of state enterprises over the years to fragmented oversight of these entities. Speaking at the Meet the Press series in Accra, he noted that some of the work is being done to support these entities compete favorably.
177 entities, government has invested in them. Government should oversight them to deliver the results we all need. And yet, one entity or one government institution will be handling a small portion. Another will be handling another aspect. Another will be, when oversight is fragmented like that, you don't get the desired results. And I must compare this with the private sector. We all say private sector, they operate profitably. They do well, they do this, they do this. It is because oversight of a private sector and every oversight of private sector entity is aligned. You have the shareholder who has invested, oversighting the board of directors they have appointed, and the board of directors are oversighting the management team, and the management team is oversighting the staff or the workers. This line, which gives a single reporting line in management, is effective. The state has not benefited from this structure since independence. And I can there say that it is the absence of this aligned oversight structure which has eluded the country and has resulted in the accumulated losses and collapses of public enterprises over the years. For the first time in the history of this country, there is a single state entity which is acting or has been mandated to be the shareholder and play the shareholder interest and think like the shareholder, oversight board of directors, for board of directors to also intend oversight management teams who will ensure that workers work the way they should. And this enterprise is SIGA, State Interest and Governance Authority. It's not happened before in the history of this country. So we can look forward to a solution.
Alright, you're still on Newsbeat here on Metro TV. Let's take a breather. When we come back, Winston Taki will be standing by with details in the business world.
Welcome back to Newsbeat Live on Metro TV. My name is Winston Taki. And now to our first business story. 100 cities among top trends on Twitter. Today, my colleague Kenneth JC is out on the street to ask Ghanaians what they can buy with 100 Ghana cedis given the current economic challenges amidst rising food prices.
Chop money and do abia and do 2 days scramble. 2 days scramble is also. And the other meet about 100 cities. Unto me this is the Dinkwa.
First no, now 100 cities. Unto me the na happy. The same Mrs. in back is here. Unto me ya krama saka. By end the Sana Ghana SC colony there. 100 cities kra. One day kra. So say a best soon one day. And last for long. 100 cities. It's about to be even remember school class here. May cost almost 200 cedi. Me bread 100 cedi there.
First 100 cedi. Ayeska. Na say there. We say so ayeska mo. But me dey adija. What be there business. But me dey fa kokko. They say 100 cedi. We dey buy nyame ya aduma bet me asa. Usu obenya kakra. Na say there kokko ni boy din. To say there we are seeing mo ayedin.
And that's says and that's the thing is ka. When you are video would that you got a camasa. Because and that's is I value and she my and yes ke be asa. And so na namone yesen. Okoto namosen na wato abena kasa sen. Na wasa de bia yen nkwan no so asa aka wo beto meko na den po meko yesen. Meko ne bo kra yesen. And the brother kwata back me santen gan 10 cedis.
Me a mechanic. But see, I know, okay, 100 cedi. Me, according to me, say there. So make it 100 cedi there. With the very weak teaching.
Indeed, people are struggling to fend with themselves when it comes to 100 cedis. How much can you spend, or how much will it cost you? Basically, your living standard of living. Now, away from that, Ghana has over the years set itself to build a digitalized cashlight economy. According to senior lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Benjamin Amoah, the e-levy calls for a more informed financial intermediaries.
The Made in Mobile Money Conference was organized by the University of Ghana Business School in support of the International Improving Financial Awareness and Financial Literacy Movement in Ghana. Speaking on the sidelines of the event, senior lecturer of the Department of Finance, Dr. Benjamin Amoah, says the government's agenda to build a cashless economy is necessary for an advanced financial sector.
Digitalized economy is where we are heading towards. And if you are looking at the micro level in terms of intermediation, it is these mobile money merchants, agents, and agency banking that presents the most effective tool and channel. With the upcoming e-levy, if these agents, merchants, and the agency banking operators are not educated into the minute details of the e-levy, then we are going to have a lot of problem in how they are going to receive it and how they are also going to educate their clients who will come to them for services. So we believe that this particular conference is giving all the players, the banks, the telcos, and the mobile money operators the opportunity to exchange ideas and also to go into some of the practical details of the e-levy and issues that will come up thereafter.
Head of agency banking at the Fidelity Bank, Dr. David Autry, admonished customers to be security conscious with their personal data.
In place strong measures. We'll be sending communication on a regular basis to customers to make sure that they keep their data secret. We also have been sending communication to the agents that under no circumstance should they divulge or reveal customer information to any third party at all. Before you leave an agent's point after transaction, make sure that you receive notification, an alert on your phone to ensure that the transactions that you did, whether deposit or withdrawal, you have been notified before you can leave. And also, when you under no circumstance should you send somebody with your ID to go and undertake a transaction at the agent point for you. It is never done. When you do that, it's a criminal offense.
The event provided an opportunity for Momo agents, agency banking operators, and stakeholders to interact on the best ways to improve service provision towards a robust industry development.
That's all for business here on Newsbeat. My name is Winston Taki. Phil Jonquarte is standing by with sports. Phil?
Thank you very much, Winston. Up next, we'll bring you the latest in sports. My name is Phil Jonquarte. Let's start with European football and focus on Champions League. The match yesterday happened at the Etihad. Manchester City managed to put 4 past Real Madrid and 4-3. You've seen it on your screens. But tonight, Liverpool see whether their quest to win their 7th title will be materialized when they play against Villarreal. Then the semi-finals matches will be played next week. You're seeing the fixtures on your screen. That's your sports. My name is Phil Jonquarte, and I am standing by for the latest in showbiz.
Thank you, Johnny. It's now time for entertainment news. My name is Anaya Tanawach. Now to our very first story, Ghanaian Netherlands-based rapper and entrepreneur Nana Apiase, popularly known as Small God, is calling for the unity in the Ghanaian music industry. Speaking on Metro TV's Entertainment Review, Small God mentioned that although our Ghanaian music is thriving on the international market, we still need to come together and work as a collective, not as individuals.
Going, Kwaku the Traveler is there now.
Yeah.
Black Shreve is doing his thing. I mean, Promise is doing his thing.
Yeah.
Sarkodie is pushing.
Yeah.
I mean, all them. Shatta is doing his thing. Everybody's doing their
Everybody's
thing.
doing their
But I feel like we still need to do
We
more.
need to do more.
We need to come as a
collective.
not
Yeah.
as an individual, because
Yeah.
individual is like, it's harder. But if we came as a whole movement, I mean, what do you think is going to happen? We're not pushing each other. We're not doing that. And that's what the problem is.
Now, away from that, renowned British DJ and presenter Tim Westwood has been accused of sexual misconduct by multiple black women who claims he misused his position in the music industry to take advantage of them. This was revealed in a joint investigation by BBC and The Guardian.
3 women have accused the DJ of opportunistic and predatory sexual behavior, while 4 others allege they were touched by him at events. The accusations against Tim Westwood goes as far back as 1992 and recently in 2017. According to a spokesperson of Tim Westwood, the renowned DJ strongly denies all allegations of inappropriate behavior. He said, in a career that has spanned 40 years, there have been many complaints made against him officially and unofficially. Tim Westwood strongly rejects all allegations of wrongdoing. This is not the first time such allegations have been leveled against him, with the DJ issuing a statement denying all clearly and unofficially. Tim Westwood strongly rejects all allegations of wrongdoing. This is not the first time such allegations have been leveled against him, with the DJ issuing a statement denying all claims of sexual misconduct in 2020. Meanwhile, his appearances at 2 events have been cancelled and the event pages removed from his website. The 64-year-old has been trending on Twitter after the BBC published the story. Westwood's career started in the late 1970s and early 1980s and has worked with BBC Radio 1 and BBC Radio 1 Extra, and currently works with Capital Radio.
That's all on entertainment. My name is Anaya Tanawach. Annie, over to you.
Thank you for the updates there. Now let's give you some international stories. Now, on the international front, Kyiv accuses Moscow of trying to shatter the unity of the Western allies after Russia suspends gas exports to Bulgaria and Poland. Authorities in Transnistria, Moldova's Russia-backed breakaway region, say shots were fired into the territory of Ukraine overnight. Meanwhile, Ukraine's military says Russia troops seized have 2 towns in eastern Donbas region, where Moscow has focused to the new phase of its offensive. Now, explosives have been exported in 3 Russia regions near the border with Ukraine: Kursk, Belgorod, and Voronezh. And that's all we have for you this afternoon. Newsbeat came to you live from the Ikea Boahema studio at Northwich. Thanks for watching and good afternoon.